Welcome back to another review by Mega Train Lover. Today we're having a look at a second-hand but fairly new locomotive which I brought off eBay for a very good price. As you can see, it's by Hornby. You can probably tell from the outline that this is an LMS, Princess Coronation class locomotive, and this particular one is the new tooled version, the one that Hornby brought out quite a few years ago now. I think about maybe 5-6 years ago now. But yeah, so we're going to be having a look at this, and you can tell that the locomotive is in British Rail green. This particular one is called City of Salford, number 46257. And what you can also tell is this particular one is one of the last ones built, so it has the modifications which Ivatt made to the last kind of 2 or 3 members of the class. So this one has roller bearing axle boxes as opposed to the originals, but that's I think there's a couple of other modifications, but the roller bearing axle boxes are by far and away the most notable difference between the original Stanier locomotives and then the 2 or 3 which were modified by Ivatt. So if you do remember, many moons ago I did a review of a Princess Coronation class. As a matter of fact, it's the oldest review on this channel. If you look at my playlist on my channel, which is called Mega Train Lovers Model Train Reviews, and you scroll to the bottom, because the review at the top is the newest, and then if you go right to the bottom, that's the oldest. The first ever review on this channel was the Princess Coronation class, but the difference is that particular one was the streamlined example, which was an LMS livery, and it was in fact Duchess of Hamilton. If you're wondering where that model is, I've sold that model last year. The reason being is because I'm moving to an all BR liveried fleet, just to make it consistent. I used to collect kind of LNER, LMS and Southern, like pre-nationalisation liveries, but I've settled on having just BR liveried engines. As this one is a BR liveried Coronation, I settled on this one, and it is the new tooled version as well, so yeah. But anyway, we'll have a further look at the box. So as you can see, the product code is R3856, and you can see what I've basically read: Princess Coronation, City of Salford. If you turn to the back, you can see you get quite a lot of information about the class, and you also get information about this particular member, which was actually the last member of the class. So City of Salford was the very last Coronation class engine to be built. This particular one was built in 1948, so it was actually built by British Rail, not LMS. So a bit of history about the Princess Coronation class. They were a class of 38 Pacifics. You can tell from the 4 wheels on the front, the 6 driving wheels, and the 2 trailing wheels at the back. 38 Pacific locomotives which were built between 1937 and 1948 at Crewe Works to the design of Sir William Stanier. And the first few engines, they were built with a streamlined casing because of there was a brand new express starting called the Coronation Scott, which ran between London Euston and Glasgow Central. And that was intended to be a non-stop service to rival the LNER's Flying Scotsman. And the locomotive, one of the locomotives, I think it was the first one, which was 6220 Coronation, managed to reach the speed of about 118 miles per hour, which for a time made it the fastest steam locomotive in the world, until about a year later, when it was beaten by the LNER A4 class Mallard, which obviously reached 126 miles an hour. So they were outshot. So the first few locomotives were outshot with a streamlined casing, of which Duchess of Hamilton, which is one of the preserved examples, Duchess of Hamilton is in that streamlined casing. So if you'd like to see what it looks like, you can see a picture of Duchess of Hamilton. That's what the first few engines looked like. Later examples built from about 1938 they were built without the streamlined casing, and during the war and just after the war, all of the engines which originally had a streamlined casing, they all had them removed for ease of maintenance. The problem with the streamlined casing is, although it was really nice to look at and it looked fantastic, it got in the way of essential maintenance. So the maintenance on the engines due to the streamlined casing was quite difficult because of, you know, like access to different areas and stuff. So they removed the streamlined casing and the maintenance became much easier. But bearing in mind, it was only the first kind of 10 or 15 engines that actually had streamlining. Most of the class didn't, because, and bearing in mind there were 38 of them, most of the class did not have streamlining. This particular example, City of Salford, as mentioned, was the last member of the class to be built, but this one was built without streamlining. And it was quite easy to tell which one was built with streamlining. The front of the smoke box, on the ones which were never streamlined, the smoke box at the front was always straight. On the ones that used to be streamlined, the smoke box sloped at the front slightly, which signified the fact that it used to have the streamlined casing. In later years, some of the ex-streamlined engines received the non-streamlined smoke boxes, but many of them retained the sloped smoke box until their withdrawal in service, which came between 1961 and the final example was withdrawn in 1964. 3 members of the class have been preserved. These include numbers 6229, Duchess of Hamilton, which is preserved at the National Railway Museum in York. Then there is another one, City of Birmingham, which is preserved at the Think Tank Science Museum in Birmingham, in its namesake city basically. But then the only operational member of the class at the moment is number 6233, Duchess of Sutherland, which I think, because of its status as a mainline, it's the only Duchess Princess Coronation class to run in the last kind of 20 years, because Duchess of Hamilton used to run mainline, but it hasn't run for about 25 years. So Duchess of Sutherland has basically become the ambassador to the class because of its status of running on the main line. I have actually ridden on it on the Severn Valley. I've ridden behind it on the Severn Valley Railway about 5 years ago. It was on a visit during the Autumn Steam Gala, and it is a beautiful engine. I'm not too sure whether it's running at the moment, but it is definitely the only Princess Coronation class that has run at all in the last sort of 20 years. I think it's been on the main line for about 20 years. But yeah, Duchess of Sutherland and number 6233 is, yeah, it's a fantastic engine. I mean, all of these engines were fantastic. But anyway, enough about the real loco. We're going to have a look at the model. The loco isn't in the box. I've taken it out, given it a run in, DCC, the lot. So we're going to put the box to one side. And I'm going to be very careful because it's a huge engine and it has the standard arrangement with the tender. So if I bring it up here, standard arrangement with the tender whereby you've got the plug and then the bar which is screwed in. So I need to be extremely careful because this, as you can see, is a huge engine. Look at that. But wow. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm just going to bring the entire loco into shot and I'm not going to say anything for a few seconds. Just going to let you settle your eyes on this beauty. What can I say? To sum it up in one word, or maybe two, absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Let's start at the front. The usual, the headlights I've fitted myself. Extremely characteristic appearance of the Princess Coronation class if the camera focuses. Come on, take my hand out of the way. There we go. Very, very characteristic look. There's its number, 46257. And weight-wise, very, very heavy. not only do I need to, the only reason, not, you know, it's not just because of the length of the locomotive that I need to hold it with two hands. It's also because of its weight. It's really heavy. So I doubt this will have any problems with traction whatsoever. If it does, I'll eat my hat, because it's so heavy. Honestly, it's one of the heaviest steam engines I own. Really heavy. It's prototypical though. The Duchesses were very powerful. As a matter of fact, they outperformed the Class 40s that replaced them on the West Coast Main Line. Fact. And just look at the wheels and the valve gear. All of that is so intricately modelled. It's unbelievable. There's the nameplate, City of Salford. It's not an etched nameplate, but nonetheless it looks really nice. I suppose you could fit an etched nameplate onto it if you so wish. I mean, obviously you can you know, customise this engine, make it a bit more weathered and stuff. You know, if you're into that kind of thing. Me personally, I just enjoy running the trains and looking at them and stuff. And what's not to like about it? Look at it. It's beautiful. It's massive, very well detailed. I love all the little like the sandboxes and lubrication gear. Really nicely modelled. Let's look at the top of the loco. You can see you got the double chimney, you got the top feed, and you got this dome. One thing, okay, this might be a bit disturbing. I'm not too sure if it was on the real locomotive, but this seam across the boiler, yeah, I'm not too keen on that. Whether it was on the real loco, I'm not too sure. I've not seen one of these from above, but yeah, that's a little bit annoying. But aside from that, it looks really nice. Of course, it has to be that way because of the way it's engineered. You know, it's in the factory and it's like pushed together. But yeah, I mean, Hornby could have done better to hide that. But oh well, what can you do? I mean, it still looks really nice. The overall, the loco still looks absolutely beautiful. Anyway. You get a separately fitted whistle with the safety valves. You get the cab roof vents, which unlike on the older model, the one I used to have, they do open and close, which is a really nice feature. Let's turn the model around, being very careful because there's quite a few delicate details as well. Let me just rest it in my hand for a bit. There we go. You can see on this side you've got the reversing gear, and also look at this detail around the bottom of the cab. So nicely detailed. I think this is the AWS box here, and you get all this pipe work here, which I'm not entirely sure what it is. But yeah, I mean, others will know, of course. But yeah, and also love how the roller bearing axle boxes on the engine, also on the tender as well, how they're actually painted properly. That is a really nice touch. Focus it again, there we go. There's its number, 46257. You can see the riveting around the cab, and of course you can see the modern, well, sorry, not necessarily modern, but the high voltage stickers, because obviously these were still in service when the West Coast Main Line was electrified. So, you know, for health and safety reasons, you needed that. Looking at the cab, it is really nice detailed. I mean, it's a bit dark, the lighting, but yeah, you can see it's much better detail than on the older version. That is a really nice cab. Yeah, there's nothing much else to say. You can clearly see the regulator, but you can also see lots of the pipe work and stuff. Yeah, overall, very nice cab. Let's move on to the tender. Tender is a typical, I'm not entirely sure. It's definitely a Stanier tender, but it's one of the ones that was built specifically for the Duchess class. It's a bit different from the tenders that like the Blackfires and the Jubilees had. But no, the tender looks really nice. You get all the rivets on the tender. You do get sprung buffers on both the engine and the tender as well. You get the BR late crest there. You get the coal load, which looks really nice, but the good thing is this is actually removable. And one of the things I really like is if I remove the coal load. Come on, I think there's an easy way of getting this out without shaking the model. But yeah, one of the things I do like about the the coal load, if it comes out, there we go, is if you remove the coal load, you can see they've modelled the coal pusher. How nice is that? Look at that. They've actually modelled the coal pusher. Now it doesn't function or anything. If the camera focuses, yep, there you go. But you can clearly see the top of the top of the coal pusher there. That is a really, really nice touch. As I say, it doesn't, you know, move or anything, but it's just the fact that it's there. It's a really, really nice touch. Let's put the coal back in. So you get the water filler cap at the back, you get the high voltage stickers again, and you get an M socket at the back as well. So yeah, all in all, absolutely beautiful model. Really, really nice. I mean, the LMS Princess Coronation classes are just such lookers, aren't they? But what we're going to do now is we're going to see if the loco performs as well as it looks. We're going to put it on the track, see how she runs. So here we have the Hornby Princess Coronation class on the track, and what we're going to do is we're going to select her number and watch her go. And off she goes. Wow. And not only does she look the part, she performs the part too. Wow. Absolutely beautiful. Get a few shots of her passing. Yeah, all in all, beautiful runner, city of Salford. Stunning. So just to conclude this video, I definitely recommend this model. If you can get it at a good price, I highly recommend it. Of course, the RRP for this is about £190. I paid less than that because it's a second-hand model, but you know, if you can get it at a good price, or even if you want to pay RRP for this, I still recommend it because it's a fantastic model. Very well detailed, runs beautifully. Yeah. Honestly, no complaints from me. Really, very, very impressed with it. Really, really nice. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I shall see you in the next video. Goodbye.